Hey there, coin enthusiasts. Imagine this. You're rummaging through a jar of pennies, the kind you throw in there every time you find one in your pocket, right? You pull out a 1976 penny, take a glance, and toss it back in without a second thought. Well, let me hit you with a little nugget of wisdom. That penny could be worth $1.8 million. Yeah, you heard that right. You might be sitting on a small fortune and not even know it. Now, before you go digging through every coin jar you have at home, let's dive into why this particular 1976 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is so valuable. Stick with me. I've got some stories to share, and you might just find yourself running to check your collection after this video. All right, let's get down to the nuts and bolts of why that little 1976 penny might be worth more than a brand new car, or maybe even a house in some parts of the country. First off, we need to talk about mint marks. You see, the U.S. Mint marks its coins with a letter that tells us where the coin was made. You've probably seen the D for Denver or S for San Francisco on your quarters or pennies, right? Well, some pennies from 1976, particularly the ones with no mint mark, were struck in Philadelphia. But here's the kicker. There was a rare batch of these pennies that went through the minting process with no mint mark and had a variety of errors, such as doubling on the date or other small details. These little quirks make them extraordinarily rare. So, why are these 1976 no-mint mark pennies so valuable? The key is rarity, and rarity is everything in the world of coin collecting. You see, the U.S. Mint accidentally produced some of these pennies without adding a mint mark, and as a result, they stand out in a sea of other 1976 pennies. But here's where it gets even crazier. These particular pennies were circulated widely back in the day, which means they weren't exactly being hoarded in mint condition. The ones that have survived are incredibly rare, and that rarity pushes their value into the stratosphere. $1.8 million. Let me tell you a personal story. I've been into coin collecting for years, and I'll admit, I was once guilty of tossing pennies aside without a second glance. It wasn't until a buddy of mine who's into serious coin collecting pointed out the value of the 1976 no-mint mark penny that I realized my mistake. He found one at a yard sale, barely scratched up, and casually mentioned it might be worth around $200. Fast forward a couple of months, he sold it for just under $10,000 at a local auction. And guess what? That penny was no mint mark, and it didn't even have the kind of error that bumps its value into the millions. Imagine if he had found one of the even rarer, more pristine versions of that penny. My jaw was on the floor hearing about that sale, and trust me, after that, I started checking my pennies with a lot more interest. No more tossing them into a jar without a second thought. Now, let's break down exactly what makes these 1976 pennies so unique. The 1976 penny was minted to celebrate the United States bicentennial, which means it had a special reverse design, featuring a colonial drummer. But it wasn't just the design that got people's attention. It's the combination of that bicentennial theme, the no-mint mark, and the error coins that give them their astronomical value today. Most of these pennies aren't worth much. Like I said, they were widely circulated back in the day. But those rare ones, especially the ones in near mint or mint condition with unique characteristics, are the ones that get people's attention at auctions. If you're looking at one of these pennies and wondering whether it's worth more than the face value of 1 cent, you need to check for a few things. If there's no mint mark, you're on the right track, but you still need to look at the other characteristics of the penny. Like any other collectible, the better the condition, the higher the value. Look for any signs of wear or damage. A penny that's been sitting in your pocket for decades isn't going to fetch top dollar. The errors, these can range from doubled dates to weird misprints. Sometimes, they're subtle, so be sure to look closely. That tiny little detail could be the difference between a $1.8 million find and a regular penny. That I can't tell you how many times I've heard someone say, "Oh, I wish I had checked my old coins," or "If I only knew about that one penny, I could have made a fortune." Don't let that be you. I'm telling you now, get your hands on your coins and take a closer look. Even if you don't have a 1976 no-mint mark penny, there could be other treasures lurking in your collection that are worth serious cash. So, there you have it. The 1976 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, with all its quirks, could very well be sitting in your collection, collecting dust, waiting for the right moment to make you a small fortune. And if you're like me and once tossed pennies aside without a second thought, well, It's time to start paying closer attention. I know this might sound like a lot of work, but trust me, it's worth it. If you're serious about finding coins worth money, keep your eyes peeled, check your collections, and don't just dismiss those old pennies as junk. Who knows? You might have a $1.8 million gem in your hands without even realizing it. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss more tips on rare coins, how to spot valuable pieces, and maybe even some stories about my own coin hunting adventures. And trust me, there are plenty of treasures out there waiting to be found. So get to work and start hunting those coins. Who knows what kind of fortune is just a penny away? Hey everyone, welcome back. So, I have a question for you. What's the one thing most people overlook while going through their change? It's pennies. That's right, those little copper discs we toss into jars or maybe lose in the couch cushions. But what if I told you that one of those pennies could be worth $1.9 million? Yup, you heard me right, $1.9 million. Let's dive into the story of the 2007 D. Abraham Lincoln penny and why it's probably worth a heck of a lot more than the change in your pocket. Stick around, because you don't want to miss out on these tips. Trust me, you might be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. All right, let's get into it. Now, I know what you're thinking, a penny? Worth $1 million? Are you sure? Yes, I am 100% sure, and I'll tell you exactly why this particular coin is turning heads in the numismatic world. The 2007 D. Abraham Lincoln penny is an absolute gem, but only if it has a certain set of features. If you've been going through your pocket change thinking you're just carrying around copper, I hate to break it to you, but you might have missed something big. Don't worry, I'm here to help. The 2007 D penny was minted at the Denver Mint, and at first glance, it doesn't look much different from any other penny. In fact, unless you're a coin collector, you're probably thinking, it's just a penny with Abe Lincoln on it. Nothing to see here. But hold on, it all comes down to a specific error that took place during the minting process. Some of these 2007 D pennies were struck with a doubled die, meaning that when the coin was struck, there was an issue with the die alignment, causing the image of Abraham Lincoln to appear doubled. It's subtle, but it's enough to make these pennies incredibly rare and valuable. In fact, these particular pennies have become one of the most sought-after coins in recent years. Okay, so how do you know if you've got one of these million-dollar pennies? First, check the wording on the coin, especially in the phrase, "In God We Trust." If the letters look doubled, there's a good chance you're holding a rare one. The doubling is usually most noticeable on the letters "In God" and "Trust," but sometimes you can see it in the date as well. So what should you be doing? Grab a magnifying glass or even a smartphone camera with a zoom feature and take a good look at the coin. Finding one of these isn't as easy as walking into a store and handing over $1, but it's possible. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, how could I miss something like this? But trust me, it's easy to overlook small errors like this if you're not familiar with what to look for. The key is knowing what you're hunting for. The current market value of the 2007 D penny now. Here's the fun part. How much are these pennies worth? The market value of a 2007 D double die penny can range, but at its peak, it's been known to reach up to a jaw-dropping $1.9 million. Yes, I know, crazy, right? You might be holding on to one of these without even realizing it. The reason the value is so high is due to rarity, condition, and that little error in minting. Coins like these are rare to find, and when one shows up at auction, collectors are willing to pay top dollar to own a piece of history. Here's a little anecdote for you. I remember a few years ago, I was at a yard sale, just poking around, minding my own business, when I came across a big jar of coins. You know the kind, full of old pennies, dimes, and nickels. Most of it was junk, but I thought, hey, it's worth a look. Turns out, I found a 2007 D penny that caught my eye. Now, I didn't know the value at the time, but when I checked it out later, I realized it was one of the rare double die varieties. It wasn't quite worth $1 million, but it was worth enough to make me do a double take. So, the point is, always check your change. You never know when you might strike it. Big.so. Let's say you found one of these rare coins. Now what? First, don't spend it. Seriously, don't. I know the temptation to buy a coffee or something is real, but trust me, you'll be kicking yourself when you realize what you just gave away. Instead, you'll want to have the coin graded by a professional. The grading process can help determine the quality and authenticity of your coin, which can significantly affect its value. A high-quality grade means you could be looking at an even higher price on the market. Once it's graded, you'll be in a much better position to sell or auction it. But if you're not ready to part with it just yet, keep it safe. A coin like this could keep growing in value over time, so it's not a bad idea to hold on to it for the long haul. If you're starting to get serious about coin collecting, this is a great lesson in how small details can lead to big rewards. Start paying attention to the coins in your change jar. It's an easy way to dip your toes into the world of coin collecting without spending a fortune up front. And who knows, you might have your own $1.9 million penny sitting right there in your pocket. Why coin collecting is more than just a hobby. Coin collecting isn't just about finding a lucky penny. It's about learning the history behind each coin, understanding the artistry and craftsmanship, and getting involved in a community of collectors. If you're starting out, a great tip is to check for error coins, like the 2007 D double die penny. They're out there, and sometimes they're just waiting for someone like you to find them. As a coin collector, you're not just looking for valuable coins, you're also preserving history. Every coin tells a story. Whether it's a rare minting error or a commemorative coin from a major event, there's always something new to learn and discover. And let me tell you, the thrill of finding something valuable that no one else knows about? It's unbeatable. So, the next time you're digging through your change, don't just toss that penny aside. Give it a second look, especially if it's from 2007 with a Denver Mint mark. It could be worth $1.9 million. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a newbie just starting out, the world of coins is full of surprises, and who knows, you might just find the next big thing. And hey, if you want more tips on coins worth money, strategies for building a collection, and some fun stories about the wild world of numismatics, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll be bringing you more awesome tips, and who knows, the next video could be the one that helps you turn your pocket change into a fortune. Hey there, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Ever find a coin that just makes you stop and think, what if this little piece of metal is worth way more than I thought? Well, that's exactly what happened to me a while back, and let me tell you, it was a game changer. Today, we're diving into one of those rare finds, the 1952 sweet penny. Yes, you heard me right. This little beauty could be worth up to $2 million. That's not a typo, my friend. So grab your magnifying glass, sit tight, and let's break down what makes this penny a literal gold mine. All right, so let's set the stage. We're talking about the 1952 sweet penny. Now, if you've been collecting coins for a while, you've probably seen plenty of these bad boys floating around. After all, they were minted in the early 1950s, and they've been kicking around for decades. But here's the catch. This one isn't just any regular penny you find in your change jar or stuck between the seats of your car. Oh no, this one has the potential to make you a millionaire. First things first, let's talk about the S mint mark. The S stands for the San Francisco Mint, where this penny was made. That mint was known for producing some of the most pristine, valuable coins in circulation. But let's face it, most of these pennies got lost in the shuffle over the years. Some of them even ended up as pocket change or buried in old coin jars, completely overlooked. Now, if you're wondering how a 1952 penny can be worth $2 million, you're not alone. I had the same question when I first heard about it. But here's the deal. There's a very specific combination of factors that make this coin so valuable. First, it has to be in excellent condition. We're talking about a penny that has been carefully preserved over the years, free from major wear and tear. If you have a 1952 sweet penny in uncirculated or near-mint condition, you could be holding on to a small fortune. The better the condition, the higher the value. It's as simple as that. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The rarity. The 1952 S is one of those pennies that wasn't produced in huge quantities. As a result, only a limited number of them are still around in good condition. Over the years, many of them were either lost, spent, or just wore down to the point where they're almost unrecognizable. So, finding one of these in mint condition is like stumbling upon a hidden treasure chest buried in your own backyard. Let me tell you a little story about my own coin collecting journey. A few years ago, I was going through my grandfather's old coin collection. You know, the one he had shoved in a dusty old cigar box for as long as I could remember. As I flipped through the coins, most of them were pretty standard, but then I stumbled upon a 1952 sweet penny that looked, well, a little too shiny. At first, I thought, oh, cool. Another penny. But then I did what any good coin collector does. I checked it under a magnifying glass. Turns out, it was in near mint condition. I still remember the feeling I had when I realized what I was holding on to. It was like the coin gods had smiled down on me. That penny was worth way more than I ever thought it could be. So, always check those coins you think are worthless. You never know. Now, let's get down to the details of the market value. Right now, a 1952 sweet penny in top condition can fetch around $2 million. Yes, million. That's the kind of money that'll have you considering early retirement. But let me warn you, it's not like these pennies are just lying around in circulation. Finding one in mint condition is rarer than spotting a unicorn. But when you do find one, it could change your financial future forever. And let's not forget, if you happen to find one of these pennies that's graded at an even higher level, let's say it gets a perfect grade from a professional coin grading service, then we're talking about even more value. We're talking about a coin that could sell at auction for record-breaking prices. The rarer the coin, the higher the demand, and the higher the price tag. So, what's the moral of the story here? Keep your eyes peeled, folks. That 1952 sweet penny you've got buried in your collection might just be the key to your coin collection jackpot. And if you're wondering, how can I make sure I'm finding these valuable coins? Well, it all starts with learning about them, keeping your collection organized, and, most importantly, never underestimating the value of a single penny. If you want to keep hearing about coins that could make you a millionaire, or just want to hear more stories of my personal coin hunting adventures, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on more tips and tricks to spot coins worth big money. Whether you're just starting out or you've been collecting for years, I've got you covered. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, keep hunting, keep learning, and who knows? You might just find that one coin that changes everything. All right, guys, let me ask you something. What's the most valuable thing you've ever found in your pocket? Maybe a lucky dollar bill? A forgotten $10 bill from last week's grocery run? Well, what if I told you that a single penny, just one, could be worth $2.1 million? I know, it sounds crazy, but stick with me here, because today we're talking about a coin that can literally change your life if you've got one lying around. It's the 2006 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yep, a penny. And not just any penny. A penny that's worth more than most people's cars. So buckle up, and let's dive into how this small piece of copper can be worth a fortune. Now, let's break down this 2006 no mint mark penny and why it's so valuable. At first glance, it looks like just your average Lincoln penny. You know, the one you find in the couch cushions when you're searching for loose change to buy that cup of coffee. But here's the kicker. In 2006, some of these pennies were made without a mint mark, which is super rare. Normally, you'll find a mint mark, like a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia, on the coin. But in 2006, some pennies were struck without any mint mark at all, and that mistake is what makes them so valuable today. So, if you find one of these pennies, you've got something truly special. The mint mark is supposed to be there, and the fact that some pennies didn't have one means they were struck incorrectly. And that mistake? Well, that's what makes this penny a collector's dream. Now, you're probably thinking, how did this penny end up worth $2.1 million? Well, the coin's rarity is key. There weren't many of these mint markless pennies made, and even fewer have survived in good condition. Because of this, coin collectors and investors are willing to pay top dollar for one. But here's the thing. Just because it's a 2006 penny without a mint mark doesn't mean it's automatically worth millions. The condition of the coin plays a huge part. If it's in great shape, say, uncirculated or with sharp details, then you've got a serious piece of history on your hands. This brings me to a personal story I have about coin hunting. A few years ago, I was at a flea market, just casually browsing through a box of old coins. Nothing too special, just a bunch of old pennies, nickels, and dimes. But there was one penny that caught my eye. It wasn't shiny. In fact, it looked pretty worn out, but something about it stood out to me. I didn't think much of it, and I tossed it into my coin jar when I got home. Fast forward a couple of years, and I was doing some research online about rare pennies when I stumbled across the exact same coin. It wasn't in great shape, but it was the rare 2006 no mint mark penny. I had found it at a flea market, completely unaware of its value at the time. Now, I don't have a $2.1 million penny, unfortunately, but I was able to sell it for a pretty decent amount, and that experience made me realize how easy it is to overlook a coin's value. And trust me, if I can miss something like that, So can you. But now, you're going to be more prepared. So, how do you go about identifying these rare pennies? Well, first, check the date. You're looking for a 2006 penny without a mint mark. If it has a mint mark, then it's not the rare one. But if it's smooth, with no D or P stamped on it, you've got yourself a winner. The next thing to check is the condition. A penny in rough shape might not fetch the big bucks, but a well-preserved one could be worth a small fortune. The best way to preserve these coins is by keeping them in a safe place, like a coin holder or a safe deposit box. Trust me, you don't want to be the guy who finds a rare coin and then scratches it up by tossing it in your pocket with your keys. Let's talk about some of the other factors that add value to these coins. The 2006 no mint mark penny's rarity is the main driver of its price. But collectors also look for a few other things, like errors in the minting process or unusual features. Sometimes, even the smallest mistake in the process, like a double die or a misstrike, can send a coin's value through the roof. So, if you're diving into the world of coin collecting, take a close look at your coins. You never know what you might find hiding in your spare change. Alright, let's wrap this up. If you've got a 2006 no mint mark penny, it could be your golden ticket. But remember, condition is everything. A penny in excellent condition is worth far more than one that's been tossed around in your pocket for years. So, check your change jars, your old coin collections, and your piggy banks because that unassuming penny might just be worth a whole lot more than you think. And hey, while you're at it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got more coin collecting tips, tricks, and stories coming your way. Who knows? The next coin you find could be worth millions, and I'll be here to help you figure out how to cash in on it. So, subscribe, keep hunting those rare coins, and let me know in the comments if you've ever found anything valuable in your spare change. Hey there, coin lovers. Imagine this. You're digging through a jar of pennies, the ones you've been collecting over the years, maybe from the bottom of your couch cushions, or that jar that's been sitting in the back of your closet since 1991. You know, the ones you never thought twice about, right? You just toss them in and forget about them. Well, guess what? That very penny you're holding could be worth more than your car, your phone, or even your weekend barbecue plans. You might just be holding a 1991 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny worth a whopping $2.2 million. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to spot coins like this and turn your old junk change into a small fortune. And hey, you might even have a 1991 penny hiding somewhere in your collection right now. Let's dive in. All right, let's break this down. The 1991 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is one of those rare gems that can make any coin collector's heart skip a beat. But how did this particular penny get to be worth a jaw-dropping $2.2 million? Well, let's start with the basics first. The mint mark on a coin is typically located on the front, right below the date. It indicates where the coin was produced, either in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But here's the kicker. In 1991, the U.S. Mint produced some pennies without a mint mark at all. And guess what? Those specific pennies, the ones with no mint mark, are extremely rare. Well, because for the most part, all pennies made at the Philadelphia Mint in 1991 had a P mint mark. But a small number of these pennies were struck with no mint mark, making them stand out like a sore thumb in a pile of regular old change. It's this rarity that gives them such value. Now, let's talk about how rare these no mint mark pennies really are. It's not like they were produced in the millions, far from it. Only a handful of these pennies were made, and they weren't even noticed at first. People were just tossing them into jars, thinking they were just another run-of-the-mill penny. It wasn't until years later that coin experts caught wind of the anomaly and realized the true value of these elusive coins that I gotta tell you. This whole thing reminds me of a story from my own life. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale, just your typical Saturday morning, digging through boxes of old stuff, trying to find a hidden gem. And there it was, a rusty old tin box, packed to the brim with what looked like just a bunch of junk pennies. I mean, they were all covered in dirt, and you could barely make out the dates at first glance. I almost passed it up. But something told me to take a second look. So, I opened it up and started going through the pennies. Most of them were standard 1970s and 80s stuff. But then, wait for it. There it was, a 1991 penny. And not just any 1991 penny, but one with no mint mark. I nearly dropped it. My heart was racing, and I had to stop myself from doing a happy dance right there in front of the vendor. I couldn't believe I had found one. Sadly, I didn't actually end up with that particular penny. It was scooped up by someone else who knew its value. But that experience really made me realize how important it is to double-check those old pennies you've got lying around us. So, let's say you do find one of these 1991 no mint mark pennies, and you're wondering, okay, how do I know if mine is really worth $2.2 million? First off, condition matters. A mint condition penny, with no visible scratches or damage, will always fetch a higher price. The better the condition, the more money you can potentially make. But let's talk about the real kicker here. The market for these rare pennies isn't something that's just nice to know. It's crucial. A lot of collectors and investors out there are actively looking for pennies like this. There are even rare coin auctions where these coins can go for a ridiculous amount of money. Like I'm talking well over $2 million. So if you find one, it could really change your life. Finding rare coins isn't just about luck. It's about knowing what to look for. When you're going through your change or rummaging through your penny jar, always keep an eye out for pennies with no mint mark, especially if they're from years like 1991. And if you find one, don't just toss it in with the rest. Do a little research, get it appraised, and you might just have a small fortune on your hands. That if you're serious about collecting rare coins, try and get yourself a good magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Trust me, you'll be amazed at how much detail you can spot that you'd never see with the naked eye. Also, don't forget about coin grading. The value of your 1991 no mint mark penny can change drastically based on its grade. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. So make sure you get it graded properly if you think you've struck gold. The 1991 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny isn't just a relic from your pocket change. It could be a treasure worth millions. If you find one, don't just toss it back into the jar, folks. Take a moment, do some research, and get it checked out. Who knows? You might just be sitting on a fortune. And hey, if you've learned something today or are just feeling excited about your coin collection, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got more tips, tricks, and strategies to help you discover hidden gems just like this one. Who knows? Your next find could be worth more than your car. Thanks for watching, and remember, when it comes to coins, sometimes the smallest things can be worth the most. Hey, coin lovers, ever dug through your pocket change and wondered if that seemingly ordinary penny could be worth more than you thought? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into a penny that's definitely not ordinary. We're talking about the 1988 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that could make you a millionaire. Yes, you heard that right, $2.3 million. That's crazy. A penny worth that much? But trust me, it's true. And you may have one of these hidden away in your collection or even tucked in a jar somewhere in your house. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you might be hunting through your loose change like it's a treasure chest. And don't forget to subscribe for more tips on coins that could change your life, or at least pad your wallet. All right, let's break this down. The 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny is one of those coins that gets collectors' hearts racing. It was minted in Philadelphia, and here's the kicker. It doesn't have a mint mark, which was actually pretty unusual for the time. Now, most pennies from this era have the D mint mark if they were struck in Denver, or an S if they were made in San Francisco. But this one, nothing. It's like it just showed up, got into circulation, and said, I'm going to be rare, but nobody will know it yet. This coin isn't your average penny. While most of us were tossing these little copper beauties into jars, thinking they weren't worth much, some sharp-eyed collectors were keeping an eye on the 1988 no mint mark penny for one major reason: rarity. And as we all know in the world of coins, rarity equals value. The 1988 no mint mark penny is known for being a bit of an anomaly. Only a few were minted this way, and over time, they've become highly sought after. Now, let me take you on a little personal journey. A few years ago, I was going through some old boxes in my attic. I found a bunch of pennies from the 80s, some rolled up in old paper sleeves, some loose. I remember thinking, yeah, I'll go through them later. So I tossed them into a drawer, forgot about them for a while, and didn't give them a second thought. Fast forward to a few months ago when I decided to get serious about my coin collection. I started researching and came across the 1988 no mint mark penny. The more I read, the more I realized that I might actually have one of these pennies in that old box. Talk about a missed opportunity. Sometimes you find gold in the most unexpected places, and other times, you kick yourself for not paying attention earlier. So, if you've got a box or a jar full of pennies from the late 80s, don't just let them sit there gathering dust. It could be your ticket to big bucks. Now, let's talk about the market for these coins. The 1988 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is highly valued, with some of the most pristine examples fetching over $2.3 million in auctions. That's right, $2.3 million. But it's not just about any 1988 penny. The condition, or grade, of the coin plays a huge role in its value. The higher the grade, the more it's worth. We're talking about coins that look almost as shiny as the day they were minted. No scratches, no wear and tear, just a flawless penny. If you happen to find one in mint condition, well, you've got yourself something special. Now, what are the odds that you have one of these rare pennies? I get it, it seems like a long shot. But here's the fun part. Many collectors didn't even realize what they had until years later, so don't be too quick to dismiss that penny from 1988. You might have a diamond in the rough sitting right in front of you, and it's just waiting to be discovered. But it's not just about having the coin. It's about knowing how to spot the differences between a regular 1988 penny and the no-mint mark variety. The no-mint mark pennies are usually harder to spot because, well, they look pretty much like your average penny from that year, except for the lack of the mint mark. So, when you're out there searching through your change or your collection, keep an eye out for this little gem. The no-mint mark version is a treasure, and it could be worth far more than the face value of a penny. But how do I get my hands on one of these? Well, it's not like you can just walk into your local store and ask for one, right? It takes some knowledge, a keen eye, and maybe a bit of luck. But even if you don't find one in your pocket change, there are plenty of opportunities out there to buy or trade for this coin, whether it's from coin dealers, auctions, or online marketplaces. Just be sure to do your research so you don't get duped. So, what can we take away from today's deep dive into the 1988 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny? First off, don't underestimate the potential hidden in those pennies you're tossing aside. That ordinary coin could very well be the key to a small fortune. And if you do find one of these pennies, it's all about keeping it in pristine condition because that's what really boosts its value. Who knows? You might just have a $2.3 million coin hiding in your collection. Now, before you rush off to check your pennies, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of videos coming your way with tips on finding coins that are worth far more than you might think. And believe me, you don't want to miss out. If you're serious about coin collecting and want to stay up to date on all the latest discoveries, subscribing is the best way to stay in the loop. And hey, if you happen to find that 1988 no-mint mark penny or any other hidden gem, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories and how you're putting your newfound coin knowledge to good use. Hey there, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Have you ever heard of a penny worth more than the car in your driveway? I'm not talking about the ones you find under your couch cushions, but a legit coin that could score you over $2 million. Yes, you heard that right, $2.4 million to be exact. And it's a 1969 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. You might be sitting there thinking, is this guy serious? A penny worth more than my house? Well, buckle up, because I'm about to take you on a journey into the world of rare coins, and trust me, you'll be looking at pennies a whole lot differently after this. Before we dive into the details, let me tell you a little personal story. A few years ago, I was at a yard sale, and I found a jar full of pennies. Nothing fancy, just a bunch of random change. Now, I'm no expert, but I had a hunch that one of them could be special. So, I bought the jar for a few bucks and, lo and behold, I ended up finding a 1969 D penny, the exact coin we're talking about today. I didn't think much of it at the time, but it turned out to be worth thousands. Imagine my surprise when I realized I had a small fortune in my hands. And that, my friends, is why you need to keep your eyes peeled for rare coins. What makes the 1969 D. Abraham Lincoln penny worth a staggering $2.4 million? Grab your magnifying glass, and let's find out. Point 1. What's so special about the 1969 D. penny? First things first, the 1969 D. penny was struck at the Denver Mint, which is where the D mint mark comes from. It's a regular penny in appearance, made of copper, with Lincoln's iconic profile staring at you from the front. But don't be fooled by its seemingly ordinary look. It's not about how it looks, it's about what happened during the minting process. The real magic happens with a rare error. Some 1969 D pennies were struck with a double die. This means that during the minting process, the dies used to strike the image were slightly misaligned. resulting in a double vision effect. You can see this doubling in the date and sometimes in the lettering on the coin. Imagine trying to read the word liberty and seeing it in a weird, blurry way. It's kind of like a weird optical illusion, but it's also a treasure hunt for collectors. This type of error is incredibly rare. Thousands of pennies were made, but only a few got that double die stamp. The key here is finding one of those pennies in good condition, which brings us to why they're worth millions today. Now, just because you found a 1969 D penny doesn't mean you've got a fortune on your hands. The condition of the coin is crucial. You've probably heard the phrase grade matters, and when it comes to coins, it's absolutely true. The higher the grade, the more money you're going to make. A coin's grade is determined by how well it's preserved, with grades ranging from poor to mint state, with some even achieving the coveted MS 68 or higher grade. If you happen to come across a 1969 D penny that's in mint state 67 or higher, especially with that distinct doubling error, it can fetch prices upwards of $2.4 million. But here's the kicker. Not all of them are going to be in mint condition. So, if you find one with the error, make sure to have it evaluated by a professional. Don't just rely on Google to tell you it's worth a fortune. Trust me, I've seen people get excited about a penny only to realize it's not quite as valuable as they thought. Great question. So, why on earth would a penny that looks like it was taken straight from your pocket be worth so much? Here's the thing. Collectors go absolutely crazy for rare coins, especially when there's an error involved. Coin collectors and investors see these types of coins as unique pieces of history. A penny isn't just a penny. It's a reminder of a specific time in the United States history, and when there's an error like this, it becomes even more interesting. Also, the rarity of the 1969 D penny with the double die error plays a massive role in its value. There are only a few of these pennies in perfect condition, and that's what makes them so desirable. Imagine you're trying to complete a puzzle, and one of the pieces is missing. That missing piece is the one you need, and the price of that single puzzle piece goes through the roof. This all sounds pretty amazing, but who would have thought that a penny could be worth millions? It reminds me of a time when I was cleaning out my grandmother's old attic. She had a bunch of old boxes filled with random stuff, and in one of them, I found a few old coins. I honestly thought they were just, junk, until I realized that a couple of them were really old and had strange markings. Long story short, one of them turned out to be worth a couple $100. It wasn't a fortune, but it was a nice surprise. So, you can imagine the excitement I'd feel if I found a 1969 D penny with that double die error. Start checking your pennies. Seriously, take a close look at the coins you've got lying around. You might just be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. And if you happen to come across a 1969 D Abraham Lincoln penny with that double die error, well, you could be a millionaire. Remember, the key is condition, so keep your eyes peeled for any signs of doubling in the date or lettering. And don't just throw it in a jar with the rest of your change, get it evaluated. If you're loving these coin tips and want to hear more about coins worth money, strategies for building a collection, and how to spot hidden treasures, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on the next time we discover a coin that could change your life. Who knows? The next $1 million find could be sitting right in your pocket. Hey everyone. So, let me ask you something. How often do you think about pennies? Those little copper coins we all throw into our jar. Or if you're like me, you sometimes just toss them in the trash. But hold on to your hats, because today, I'm going to show you something that'll make you look at pennies in a whole new light. The 1987 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, yes, I said penny, could be worth a jaw-dropping $2.5 million. I know, it sounds insane, right? But trust me, it's real. And by the end of this video, you're going to be checking your pocket change like a pro. I remember when I first learned about this coin. I was sitting at a buddy's house, flipping through an old coin catalog he'd inherited. He casually mentioned something about this rare penny, and I thought he was messing with me. A penny? Really? Come on, man. I laughed. Well, fast forward a couple of months, and guess who had a massive penny problem? Yep, me. I had to track down one of these bad boys, and spoiler alert, I didn't find one, but it sparked a whole obsession with coins. So, if you've ever wondered what's hiding in your pocket change, stick around, because I'm going to show you how to spot a true treasure. All right, let's break this down. So, you're probably thinking, how on earth can a 1987 penny be worth $2.5 million? I get it, I had the same reaction. But the truth is, some pennies are rare because they were never officially minted. And if you get your hands on one of those, well, it's a gold mine, or in this case, a copper mine. It's all because of a minting error that happened that year. Usually, every penny has a mint mark, like a little D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But the 1987 pennies that don't have a mint mark are the ones you need to watch out for. In 1987, a few pennies were struck in Philadelphia but somehow didn't get the usual P mint mark. This tiny detail makes all the difference, but here's where it gets tricky. A lot of these pennies are in circulation, and they might look like just any other penny. And I'm sure you've seen a ton of them lying around, in old boxes, or buried in your car's cup holder. But the ones worth $2.5 million are the unblemished, flawless ones. A penny that's seen the inside of a washing machine or been dropped in the dirt. That's not what we're looking for. These rare pennies need to be in mint condition, and finding one of those, well, let's just say, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. Now, you might be thinking, okay, great. So I need to start flipping through my change like I'm a treasure hunter. Well, kinda. But here's the real kicker. You're not just looking for any 1987 penny. You're looking for one that was minted in Philadelphia with no mint mark. If it's got the usual P or D, then you can stop right there. And here's the deal. Most of these rare pennies are probably already in the hands of collectors who know their stuff. So, it's going to take some serious patience and maybe a little luck. But trust me, it's worth it. Let's talk about how you can spot these things, even if you're not a professional coin collector. The first thing you want to do is check for that mint mark, or lack thereof. It's usually right beneath Lincoln's shoulder. If there's no P or D, you're on the right track. Then, you want to make sure the coin is in pristine condition. Is it shiny? Are there any scratches, dents, or discoloration? The cleaner it is, the more valuable it's going to be. Coins that are proof quality are the holy grail here. They've been carefully handled and stored, and trust me, collectors will pay top dollar for these. But here's a little nugget of wisdom from me. Don't just assume every unmarked penny is a gold mine. Over the years, some people have tried to fake this minting error, and trust me, there's a ton of counterfeit stuff out there. So, if you find one, make sure you get it authenticated by a reputable coin dealer. Otherwise, you might be holding on to a worthless penny thinking it's your ticket to riches. Now, I want to share a little story with you. I once came across a stack of old pennies in my granddad's attic. I was super excited, thinking I had hit the jackpot. Surely, I'll find something rare here. After hours of flipping through these coins, I found a bunch of 1987 pennies, and none of them had the no mint mark error. I felt like the world's biggest fool. But the funny part is, I learned so much about coin collecting that day. I was hooked. It wasn't just about the money, it was about discovering the history behind these tiny little relics and how much value people put on something so small. That experience sparked my love for numismatics, and I haven't looked back since. So, here's the takeaway from all this. While you may not find a $2.5 million penny lying around in your change, it's totally worth checking those pennies in your pocket. And who knows? Maybe you'll stumble across one of these rare 1987 no mint mark gems. Now, before you go running off to dig through your couch cushions, do me a favor. If you want more tips on finding coins that are worth serious cash, or if you just like learning about cool coin stories like this one, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got a ton of valuable tips lined up, and trust me, you don't want to miss them. And if you've ever found a coin that made you do a double take, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your stories, and who knows, you might just inspire someone else to go hunting for treasure too. So, keep on hunting, stay curious, and as always, thanks for watching. You ever held on to a penny and thought, it's just 1 cent, what could it possibly be worth? Well, imagine if I told you that one of those pennies hiding in your kitchen drawer could be worth $1 million right now. Yes, you heard that right. 1 penny. $1 million. Now, before you toss your change jar into the nearest coin star, stop. You could be sitting on a life-changing treasure and not even know it. Let me paint a picture. You walk into a coin shop, drop a little brown penny on the counter, and walk out with enough cash to buy your dream car, pay off your mortgage, or take that luxury vacation you've only seen in commercials. That's not fantasy. That's the reality of the 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny. But why this penny? What makes it so valuable? And how can you tell if the one in your possession is the golden ticket? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll not only know why this coin is worth a fortune, but you'll have the knowledge to spot one, sell one, and maybe even change your financial future. This isn't just about coins. This is about freedom, about not letting opportunities slip through your fingers, literally. First, Let's go back to 1988. Ronald Reagan had just finished his second term. The Cold War was cooling off. And in U.S. Mint facilities, a quiet mistake was being born. In that year, the Philadelphia Mint released a small batch of Lincoln pennies without a mint mark. These weren't supposed to exist. The Philadelphia Mint typically stamps its coins with a tiny P, but somehow, this detail was left out. And that tiny absence? It created a massive opportunity. Now here's the thing. Not every 1988 penny without a mint mark is valuable. That's the catch. And that's where the story gets intense. You need to know what separates a regular old penny from the million-dollar anomaly. And don't worry, I'm going to break it down for you in just a moment. But first, let's talk about why collectors and investors are going crazy for these. It's simple. Rarity meets condition. Only a handful of these 1988 no-mint mark pennies were struck with an unusual reverse design, the same design used on 1989 coins. That means a mix-up happened at the mint, and those rare transitional errors are what collectors pay top dollar for. If your 1988 penny has this rare reverse, crisp, detailed, and in pristine condition, congratulations. You might be holding one of the rarest modern coins in existence. Hold up. If you're the type of person who tosses your pennies into the couch cushions or uses them to prop up a wobbly table leg, we need to talk. That table might be standing on a fortune. Go flip your furniture later. Right now, let's stay focused. First, check under the date. If there's no tiny letter, that's the first clue. But remember, no mint mark alone isn't enough. This is where the experts separate the winners. The valuable 1988 penny has the reverse design that belongs to 1989 coins. The best way to spot this is by closely examining the lettering, especially the letters in the word America. On the rare version, the G in E pluribus unum has a specific shape, and the spacing between letters is unique. The coin needs to be in extremely fine condition, ideally uncirculated. No scratches, no wear. These coins are typically slabbed and graded by professionals like PCGS or NGC. A penny graded MS67 or higher. That's where the real money is. This is where fear meets excitement. Because now you're wondering, do I have it? Don't go running to eBay just yet. Because if you try to sell it the wrong way, you could lose everything. Literally, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, lost in one bad move. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to protect yourself, where to sell your coin for top dollar, and what traps to avoid that could cost you your million-dollar payday. Get it professionally graded. You need certification from a trusted grading service. PCGS and NGC are the industry leaders. Without their stamp of approval, your coin is just a story with no proof. Step 2. Don't sell to the first person who throws cash at you. Coin dealers, online buyers, even shady middlemen, they'll all try to swoop in with low-ball offers. Don't fall for it. Instead, connect with trusted auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stacksbowers. These platforms attract elite collectors who are willing to pay premium prices for rare finds. Step 3. Negotiate from a position of power. Know the market. Know the history. Know your worth. A 1988 no-mint mark penny in MS67 condition with the rare reverse design has sold for $1 million, and yours could too. You don't just blow it on flashy toys, unless that's your style. You invest. You build. You create the life you always dreamed about. No more financial stress. No more what-ifs. That's the power of knowledge. That's the reward for curiosity and action. Right now, somewhere in America, someone is spending their million-dollar penny at a gas station, completely unaware. Don't let that someone be you. Check your coins. Pay attention. Opportunity doesn't knock. It jingles in your pocket. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more rare coin stories that could change your life. And tell me in the comments, have you checked your 1988 pennies yet? All right, folks, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny before tossing it in your cup holder or that kitchen junk drawer? Yeah, I see you nodding. We all do it. But what if I told you that one of those little brown coins sitting under your car seat could be worth $1.1 million? That's right, $1.1 million. For a penny, not a stack of them. Just one. Today, we're diving into the 1996 D. Lincoln penny. This isn't just your average pocket change. This little guy could send you on a dream vacation, pay off your mortgage, and still have enough left over to buy every Funko Pop ever made. So stick around, because we're going deep into what makes this coin worth a small fortune and how you might have one sitting in plain sight. Okay, so let's break it down. The 1996 D. Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, hence the little d right below the year. Now, the average 1996 D penny isn't worth more than 1 cent unless it's in mint condition. But, and this is where things get spicy, a small number of these pennies have some incredibly rare features that send collectors into a frenzy. So why the crazy price tag? It all comes down to condition, rarity, and some jaw-dropping errors. One of the rarest known examples is a 1996 D penny struck on a bronze planchet. That's an older metal composition that should have been phased out way before 96. A mix-up at the mint meant this oddball got through quality control, and boom, $1 million mistake. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A few years back, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. He's one of those guys who saves everything. Like, he still had a Blockbuster membership card. Anyway, we came across an old piggy bank. I cracked it open, expecting some dust and maybe a few quarters. What I found instead was a pile of coins that hadn't seen the light of day since Y2K. Now, I didn't find the $1 million penny that day, unfortunately, but I did find a 1969 double-die Lincoln cent worth over 10 grand. 10,000 bucks. I nearly dropped it into the shop vac before realizing what it was. That moment taught me one thing: never underestimate the power of loose change. Back to the 1996 D. Here's what to look for if you want to play detective with your coins. First, check for mint errors, things like off-center strikes, double dies, or coins struck on the wrong metal. If the penny feels heavier than normal or has a strange color, that's your cue to look closer. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe if you've got one. Or, be like me and hold it 2 inches from your eye while pretending you know what you're doing. Condition matters a lot too. We're talking about uncirculated condition, also known as mint state. If your penny has sharp details, a nice shiny surface, and no major scratches, you're in good shape. But the real jackpot is when all of those factors come together: rare error, great condition, and high demand. That's the magic combo. Let's talk numbers. A normal 1996 D Lincoln penny? Still worth a penny, maybe a little more if it's super clean. But one of these rare error coins in pristine condition? That's where the $1.1 million comes in. One of these was auctioned off by a major coin house and blew everyone's minds with the final price tag. And here's a little-known tip. Coin dealers and collectors often use grading services like PCGS or NGC. If you think you've got a winner, get it graded. It costs a little upfront, but it can mean the difference between selling it for a few bucks and retiring early. Also, keep an eye out at estate sales, flea markets, even vending machines. I've heard stories of people finding crazy valuable coins and handfuls of change from parking meters. So here's the bottom line. That humble little penny you've been ignoring could be worth a fortune. The 1996 D Lincoln penny with the right mix of rarity and condition has sold for over $1.1 million. That's the kind of thing that turns casual hobbyists into full-blown coin hunters overnight. Remember my uncle and his piggy bank full of treasure? He laughs about it now, but we both learned a valuable lesson. Coins are more than just small change. They're history, they're mystery, and sometimes they're money in disguise. If you learned something new today, or got even a little excited about rummaging through your old change, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips on coins worth serious money, plus strategies to help you spot the winners and avoid the duds. And hey, who knows? The next $1 million penny might be in your pocket right now. All right, fellas, let me hit you with a question that's going to mess with your head a little. What if I told you that one single penny, yeah, just 1 cent, from 1968 could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.2 million today? That's not a typo. That's not a scam. That's a real coin, real cash, and it might be sitting in your junk drawer right now next to some loose screws and old batteries. Today, we're diving into the world of the 1968 no mint mark Lincoln penny, the plain old cent that's anything but ordinary. We're going to talk about why it's worth so much, what makes it special, and how you can spot one if you're lucky enough. So grab a drink, kick back, and let's talk pennies like they're Ferraris, because today, they kinda are. The good old 1968 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. At first glance, it looks just like every other penny you've ever ignored on the sidewalk. Honest Abe on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Coppery, small, and totally unassuming. But here's where things get interesting. In 1968, the U.S. Mint was producing pennies in several locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Normally, coins minted in Philly didn't carry a mint mark, while others did. But in this particular year, something went weird that a very tiny batch of 1968 pennies from San Francisco accidentally got struck without the S mint mark. And buddy, when I say tiny, I mean microscopic. We're talking needles and haystacks. So if you come across a 1968 penny without any mint mark at all, and it turns out it was supposed to be an S mint coin, congratulations. You might just be holding onto a coin that collectors are drooling over because of rarity, condition, and demand. It's that golden triangle in coin collecting. Rarity makes it desirable, condition makes it valuable, and demand makes the bidding war go crazy. If your 1968 no mint mark penny is in pristine, mint condition, we're talking full red luster, barely touched by human hands, it could fetch up to $1.2 million at auction. That's not just hype. That's what these bad boys have been going for on the open market. Now look, it's not every day you trip over $1 million penny. But people have done it. Some guy in Ohio, cleaning out his dad's old dresser drawer, found one. Thought it was junk. Almost tossed it. Had a buddy who knew a bit about coins take a peek, and boom, he's driving a new truck and paid off his mortgage. That's the dream right there. Now I gotta tell you something personal. A couple years back, I was cleaning out an old coffee can of change my grandpa left behind. The man never threw away a coin in his life. We're talking nickels from the 60s, wheat pennies from the 40s, even a silver dime or two. I'm elbow deep in pennies, figuring maybe there's something cool in here. After hours of digging, my eyes were practically crossed. I start Googling coin values, comparing dates, squinting at mint marks. Then I spot this 1968 penny. No mint mark. Heart skips a beat that I rush to get a magnifying glass like I'm Indiana Jones about to discover the Holy Grail. I even call my buddy Todd over, who's got this nerdy coin collector app on his phone. We analyze this thing like it's a crime scene. Well, turns out it was just a regular Philadelphia penny. Worth, you guessed it, 1 cent, but for those 5 minutes, I was already spending that $1 million in my head. I was picking out new tires for my truck, booking a cruise, naming a boat after myself. It was glorious. And you know what? That's half the fun, the thrill of the hunt. Because hey, next time, maybe I won't strike out. Let's say you want to up your odds of finding a valuable coin like this. Here's a few quick tips. First, check your change regularly. Yeah, that sounds obvious. But seriously, don't just toss coins in a jar and forget about them. You'd be shocked how many valuable coins slip through the cracks and end up in circulation. Second, invest in a decent magnifying glass. I'm not talking about some cheap dollar store thing. Get one that lets you see details up close. Mint marks, die errors, doubling. All that tiny stuff makes the difference between 1 cent and $1 million. Third, learn about coin grading. Condition is everything in the coin world. A scratched up penny from 1968 is just a curiosity. A shiny, flawless one, that's a golden ticket. And lastly, hang out in coin collecting groups, online or in person. These folks are passionate, and they'll help you spot fakes, identify rare finds, and avoid scams. Plus, you might make a few new friends who speak fluent Lincoln. So there you have it. A little copper coin from 1968 with no mint mark, that could be worth $1.2 million. That's not just pocket change, that's life-changing cash. All because of a tiny minting error and a lot of curiosity from collectors. Now here's your mission. Go grab that old jar of coins, flip through those pennies, and see what treasures you've been sitting on. You never know. Your next grocery run might come with $1 million bonus in your pocket. If you found this video helpful, or even just a little entertaining, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you don't miss out on more wild coin stories, money-making tips, and the kind of numismatic nonsense we all love around here. Stick with me, and I'll keep showing you how to turn couch cushion change into cold hard cash. Hey folks, let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever accidentally tossed away a fortune? Maybe you dropped a dollar bill in a puddle or left a 20 in your jeans before doing laundry. Yeah, we've all been there. But imagine this. What if you threw away a penny? Yes, just a penny, and it was worth over $1 million. That's not a joke. That's a real thing. There's a 2013 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny floating around out there right now, and it's got a jaw-dropping value of $1.3 million. $1.3 million. For a single cent now, if that doesn't get your coin collecting senses tingling, I don't know what will. So sit tight, grab your coffee, maybe a magnifying glass, and let's dive deep into the world of rare coins. And who knows, maybe after this video, you'll be digging through your couch cushions like Indiana Jones. All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes. First, let's talk about the basics. The 2013 Abraham Lincoln penny. You've seen it a million times, right? Good OL, Honest Abe, looking slightly to the right, sporting that stern but wise expression. It's part of the Lincoln Shield Cent series that started in 2010. Nothing flashy, nothing too fancy. But this particular penny, it's got something wild going on. And you might be thinking, so what? A bunch of pennies don't have mint marks. And that's true. But what makes the 2013 no mint mark Lincoln penny stand out is how it was struck and what went wrong or right, depending on how you look at it. We're talking about a coin that was struck on a planchet error, possibly a transitional planchet or struck on the wrong metal composition. And those are crazy rare. Folks, on top of that, it's in pristine condition. Like mint, state, 68, level condition. That's grading talk. But in plain English, it means this penny is so clean it practically sparkles. We're talking showroom shine. A penny that has never seen a dirty pocket or a sticky vending machine. Only one or maybe two of these are confirmed to exist in this kind of condition. We're not talking about your everyday pocket change here. We're talking about a coin that collectors go bananas over. This isn't a regular penny with no mint mark. It's a major mint error. These errors happen when a coin is struck on the wrong type of blank or with an incorrect die. That mistake makes it a jackpot for collectors. The coin's condition plays a huge, think of it like baseball cards or comic books. A mint condition coin is like finding a first edition comic still sealed in plastic. Total gold mine. Now here's the part that gets me every time. You know where the first one of these was found? At a flea market. Yep. Some guy bought a jar of old coins for 10 bucks. He took it home, started sorting through it, and boom, there it was. A shiny 2013 penny with no mint mark and something just a little off about it. He almost didn't notice it. He said it just looked different. That's the power of keeping your eyes open. He sent it off to get graded, and sure enough, rarity confirmed, error authenticated, value estimated at $1.3 million. And I'm over here feeling like a genius because I once found a quarter on the sidewalk. Let me tell you a little personal story. A few years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. Now, Uncle Joe is the kind of guy who saves everything. Like, he still has VHS tapes and thinks email is a passing fad. Anyway, we find this giant coffee can. Yep, a coffee can full of coins. Pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, just tossed in there for decades. I'm thinking, hey, maybe we find a wheat penny or a silver dime. So we start sorting, and I swear, I must have looked at 1,000 pennies. I'm getting carpal tunnel from flipping them over. Then, I spot this 2013 Lincoln penny, no mint mark. I nearly lost my mind. I thought I hit the jackpot. I rushed to the kitchen, pulled out a magnifying glass like Sherlock Holmes, and started Googling like a maniac. Turns out mine wasn't the rare one, just a regular Philly mint. But man, that adrenaline rush? That what if moment? It hooked me for life. And that's the beauty of coin collecting. Every coin you touch could be a life changer. It's like treasure hunting, but without the pirates. Let's talk strategy real quick. If you're looking to find one of these 2013 no mint mark beauties, here's what you do. Start by going through your change jar. Don't have one? Start one. Every penny counts. Literally. Look for Lincoln Shield cents from 2013. Flip them over and inspect the obverse, which is the side with Lincoln's head. No mint mark? That's step one. But don't stop there. Compare it to a regular one. If the coin looks different, like it has an odd color, metal tone, or looks super sharp and flawless, you might have something. Get it checked. Seriously. Send it off to a coin grading service. Don't just stick it in a drawer and hope for the best. Get a pro opinion. Don't fall for those eBay listings saying rare 2013 penny for $10,000. There are a lot of fakes out there. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Do your research, double-check your sources, and be patient. Coin collecting is a marathon, not a sprint. But when you hit that payday, oh man, it's so worth it. All right, my fellow treasure hunters, we've learned that sometimes the most valuable things in life are hiding in plain sight. That little 2013 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny? It's a reminder that even the smallest coin can hold a massive secret. So go check your change jars. Look under the car seats. Rummage through your old piggy banks. Because that $1 million penny could be sitting in your house right now, just waiting for someone with a sharp eye to spot it. If you enjoyed this video and and you want more tips on finding rare coins, valuable errors, and coin collecting strategies that could turn your pocket change into a payday, then do me a favor, smash that subscribe button. Hit the like button too if you had a good time hanging out today. And share this with a buddy who's always digging in their pockets for loose change. Trust me, we're just getting started. There are more hidden treasures out there than you can imagine. Hey folks, let me ask you something real quick. Have you checked your pocket change lately? I mean, really looked? Because hiding in plain sight might be a little brown coin that could straight up change your life. No, I'm not joking. Today we're diving into a little sleeper coin that's packing a serious punch, the 1988 D. Lincoln penny. Now hold on tight because this isn't just any old penny. One of these bad boys recently fetched a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. Yeah, you heard me right. That's not a typo. And no, I didn't hit my head. That's $1.4 million for a single copper-colored penny from 1988 with a little D on it. And no, the D doesn't stand for dream, though it might as well. So grab a cup of coffee, maybe even your coin jar, because I'm about to tell you everything you need to know about this $1 million penny, how to spot it, and why it's worth more than your car, your house, and probably everything in your garage combined. All right, let's break this down. The 1988 D. Lincoln penny was minted in Denver. That's what the little d stands for, just below the year. Millions of them were made, and most of them are only worth, well, a penny. But a tiny fraction, a very special few, have a rare error that turns them into gold mines. So what's the deal with this $1.4 million penny? It all comes down to what's called a transitional error. That's just a fancy way of saying somebody at the mint messed up, and collectors go nuts for mint mess-ups. D penny is what's called a reverse design mix-up. To understand it, we gotta take a quick detour to 1989. That's the year the U.S. Mint made a slight change to the reverse design of the Lincoln Memorial penny. They added what's called the FG initials, short for Frank Gasparo, the guy who designed the back of the penny, in a slightly different spot. D penny somehow ended up with the new reverse design a year early. That wasn't supposed to happen. It's like someone put a 1989 back on a 1988 front. And boom, just like that, you've got yourself a rarity. Now how rare are we talking? We're talking needle in a haystack rare. But they do exist. One of them ended up at auction, and collectors went bananas over it. That coin sold for $1.4 million. And the best part? It wasn't found in a bank vault or some museum. It was discovered in someone's loose change. Let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was helping my buddy move. You know how it goes, boxes of old clothes, cables from electronics that haven't existed since 1997, and of course, the random jar of coins. Now me being a coin nerd, I couldn't resist. I sat down with a pizza box lid and started going through those pennies like I was digging for gold. And wouldn't you know it, I actually found a 1988 D penny. My heart just about jumped out of my chest. I ran straight to my magnifier like Indiana Jones with a treasure map. But turns out, it wasn't the penny. Still, it taught me something. These valuable coins aren't mythical. They're real. They're out there. And someone is going to find the next one. So how do you know if you've got one of these valuable pennies? Let me walk you through it. Next, flip that coin over. You're looking for the initials FG on the reverse side. That's on the right side of the Lincoln Memorial, near the base. Now the secret is in the shape and location of those initials. On the rare variety, the initials are set farther from the building and shaped just like the 1989 design. That's your golden ticket. That's the $1.4 million detail. If you're not sure, grab a magnifier or compare it side by side with a regular 1988 D penny and a 1989 penny. The difference is subtle, but it's there. Also, keep an eye out for condition. While even a circulated version can be worth thousands, the big bucks, like $1 million level, go to coins in pristine condition. So if it looks like it's been chewed by your neighbor's dog, it's probably not going to hit seven figures. But hey, even 5 or 10,000 for a penny, that's still a win in my book. So let me ask you again, have you checked your change lately? Because your next trip to the gas station or your kid's piggy bank might hold a fortune disguised as a dirty little pin. The 1988 D. Lincoln penny with that rare reverse is one of the coolest error coins out there. And it's proof that even in a world of digital everything, old-school pocket change can still blow your mind and your bank account. If this video got you digging through your couch cushions, then my job here is done. But hey, don't stop now. I've got loads more videos coming your way on coins worth real money, how to spot valuable errors, and strategies that can turn your hobby into a serious payday. So smash that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the ride, and hit that little bell so you never miss a single treasure hunt. Hey, listen up, folks. If you've ever thought pennies were just pocket clutter, I've got news that'll knock your socks off. One tiny copper-colored coin from 2018 with a little D mint mark. Yeah, I'm talking about the Abraham Lincoln penny, just sold for a whopping $1.5 million. That's right, $1.5 million for a penny. Before you start flipping over your couch cushions and raiding your kid's piggy bank, let me tell you why this happened, how to spot this rare gem, and how one little mistake at the mint turned loose change into life-changing money. So grab a drink, kick your feet up, and let's talk about how a 1-cent coin can make you a millionaire. And don't worry, I'll also throw in a personal story involving a metal detector, a mosquito ambush, and a penny that almost changed my life. Almost. At a glance, it looks like any other penny. Copper-plated zinc, Lincoln's profile on the front, the Union shield on the back, and that tiny little D under the year, meaning it was minted in Denver. But the devil's in the details. Now, most 2018 D pennies are worth, well, a cent. Maybe two if you're feeling optimistic. But one incredibly rare version had a minting error so precise, collectors went bananas over it. The $1 million version of this coin has what's known as a double die obverse. That means when the coin was struck, the die, the stamp used to imprint the design, shifted slightly. As a result, Lincoln's features, especially his eye and the inscriptions like "I in God we trust," appear slightly doubled. It's a subtle but noticeable shift, kind of like Lincoln had a few too many the night before. The strike is exceptionally sharp. The coin looks practically brand new, full red luster, zero wear. That condition is called MS-70 in grading terms, which is as perfect as it gets. That perfect storm, mint error, top-notch condition, and rarity sent its value through the roof. All right, you might be wondering, how the heck does a penny with a little mistake become worth over $1 million? Well, collectors love errors, especially ones that are dramatic, rare, and well-preserved. Think of it like a misprinted baseball card or a rare comic book cover. It's the screw-ups that become collectibles, and on top of that, the 2018 D Lincoln penny marked a time when modern coins started getting more attention. People realized that not all valuable coins are from the 1800s. Even coins minted in our lifetime, coins still in circulation, could be worth life-changing amounts if the stars align just right. Last summer, I was out with my buddy Dave. He's the kind of guy who buys every gadget off late-night TV. So, of course, he bought a metal detector. We're out in the woods, sweating through our shirts, looking like two confused pirates searching for buried treasure in a city park. After about an hour of digging up bottle caps and rusty nails, I finally get a hit. I dig down, and there it is, a shiny penny. I wipe it off, and wouldn't you know it, 2018 D. My heart did cartwheels. I flip it around, squint at Lincoln's face like I'm some CSI expert, and for a second, I swear I see a doubling. I'm shaking. Dave's screaming. We run back to his house like two lunatics. I grab my loop, pull up reference pictures, start comparing. Turns out, nope. It's just a regular penny, worth 1 cent. We laughed about it for hours. But ever since that day, every penny I touch gets a full inspection. You never know. First, check the date and mint mark. It's got to be 2018 with AD under the year. Second, get a magnifying glass or a coin loop. Trust me, your eyes aren't good enough. Look at the words "I in God we trust," "Liberty," and the date. If they look doubled, like there's a shadow or ghost image, you might be in business. Next, check the condition. The shinier, redder, and more perfect the coin, the higher the value. Coins with scratches, dings, or discoloration are still interesting, but won't hit the $1 million mark. If you think you've got something special, don't spend it at the gas station. Take it to a coin dealer, get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, and see what the pros say. It might be nothing, or it might be your retirement plan. Coins like this are out there, in jars, drawers, and couch cushions across the country. You don't need to be a millionaire to find one. You just need sharp eyes and a little patience. And hey, even if you don't strike gold, it's still a fun hobby. I mean, where else can you make money by literally looking at money? So, the next time you get change at the grocery store, don't just toss those pennies in your car's cup holder. Take a second. Look for that 2018 D. You never know. You might be holding a coin worth $1.5 million. And if this kind of treasure hunt sounds like your thing, hit that subscribe button right now. We've got more hidden gem coins to talk about, more strategies to build your collection, and more laughs along the way. Hey there, coin hunters and treasure seekers. Let me ask you something. Have you ever held a penny in your hand and thought, well, this is basically just 1 cent closer to a soda I can't even afford? Yeah, me too. But what if I told you there's a penny out there that looks just like every other old copper coin, but it's worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million? That's right, one little coin, one tiny Lincoln penny, and not from some mysterious ancient hoard or buried pirate treasure. Nope, we're talking about a 1969 D Lincoln penny, straight out of Denver. And it could be hiding in your couch cushions or coffee can of spare change right now. Now before you run to flip your couch upside down or start raiding Grandpa's coin jar, sit tight. I've got a story, some facts, and a few laughs to help you figure out how to spot this $1 million treasure in your pocket change. Let's start with the basics. The 1969 D Lincoln penny, minted in Denver. This little guy seems pretty ordinary. I mean, if you saw it lying on the ground, you might not even pick it up. But here's where it gets juicy. In the world of coin collecting, it's all about the details. And when it comes to this 1969 D penny, the devil is definitely in the details. What makes this coin worth $1.6 million isn't just its age or the mint mark. It's a rare combination of a few factors that makes it a superstar in the coin world. Now, don't confuse this with the more famous 1969 S double die penny. That's a whole other beast. But the 1969 D has its own elite fan club, especially because of one ultra-rare version with a dramatic strike error that slipped through quality control. We're talking about a coin with near-perfect condition, razor-sharp strike, beautiful coppery glow, and a minting anomaly that got collectors all fired up. So how did one of these humble copper coins end up worth more than a beachfront condo? It all comes down to condition, rarity, and that lovely little D mint mark. In top condition, we're talking mint state, untouched, flawless kind of quality. This coin is fetched up to $1.6 million at auction. That's not pocket change, folks. That's retire on the beach money. Now let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. You know, one of those sure, I'll help for pizza kind of situations. While we were going through boxes of dusty old tools and VHS tapes nobody wanted, I spotted an old coffee can labeled nails. But it didn't sound like nails when I shook it. It had that glorious jingle of coins. I cracked it open, and sure enough, it was full of pennies. Most were dirty and green from decades of neglect, but I figured, what the heck? And started looking through them just for fun. And guess what? I found a 1969 D Lincoln penny in that can. My heart started racing. I held it up to the light like Indiana Jones in a treasure cave. Could this be the one? Well, it wasn't the $1 million one. It was scratched up and had probably survived a lawnmower at some point. But that moment right there, that got me hooked. I dove headfirst into the world of rare coins, errors, mint marks, and wild auction stories. And now I'm here, helping you do the same. First, check the condition. If it looks like it was run over by a tricycle, it's probably not going to be worth much. But if it's crisp, clean, and almost brand new looking, now we're talking. Look for sharp details on Lincoln's face, a clear D under the ear, and no major scratches or wear. Next, check with a grading service. PCGS or NGC can give you a professional evaluation, and trust me, it's worth the fee if you think you've got something special. That grading can be the difference between a $10 novelty and a $1.6 million auction hammer. And if you're not sure, take it to a reputable coin dealer. But be cautious, not all dealers are created equal. Do your research, get a second opinion, and don't let anyone lowball you into trading your treasure for a pack of gum. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. I've been tossing pennies into the tip jar for years without a second thought. And hey, same here. But that's what makes this hobby so fun. It's like playing the lottery with better odds and a whole lot more history. Plus, you get to sound super cool at parties. I mean, who doesn't want to be the person who casually drops? Yeah, I once found a penny worth over $1 million in my sock drawer. Instant legend status. So there you have it. The 1969 D Lincoln penny. Just one tiny coin, but with the right condition and a little bit of luck, it could change your life. $1.6 million for a single cent. That's the kind of upgrade that'll have your wallet singing hallelujah. If you've got a stash of old change somewhere, now's the time to go digging. Check every penny, especially the ones from 1969 with that D mint mark. You never know, you might be sitting on a gold mine disguised as a copper coin. And hey, if you found this video helpful, entertaining, or at least slightly more interesting than watching paint dry, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I've got more coin collecting tips, strategies, and million-dollar stories coming your way. You don't want to miss it. Hey folks, let me hit you with a little trivia to kick things off. What's small, brownish red, easy to overlook, and could be worth more than your house? Nope, not your old high school yearbook photo. I'm talking about a penny. That's right, 1 cent. And not just any penny. Today, we're talking about the mysterious and mighty 1982 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's currently valued at a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. Yeah, you heard that right. 1.7 million bucks. For a coin that most of us probably walked past in a parking lot last week or spent on stale gum from a vending machine. Now, before you start flipping your couch cushions or prying open your piggy bank from 1982, stick with me. Because in the next 40 minutes, we're diving deep into this incredible coin, how it happened, why it's rare, how to spot one, and what makes it so dang valuable. And to make this extra fun, I'll share a personal story of how I almost spent a coin that could have changed my life. Spoiler alert, I've made some dumb decisions, and this one ranks near the top. Okay, so let's rewind to 1982. Hair was big, music was loud, and pennies were going through an identity crisis. Here's the deal. In 1982, the US Mint made a big change. They were switching the composition of the penny. Before 1982, pennies were made mostly of copper. But copper was getting expensive, and the Mint was like, nah, we're not going to spend more money making money than the money is worth. You follow? So they switched to zinc pennies with just a thin coating of copper. But here's the twist. During the transition year, 1982, they actually made both copper and zinc pennies. And they made them in 7 different varieties based on composition, mint mark, and design. One of those coins, an unusual 1982 penny made of copper, struck in Philadelphia, without a mint mark, and using a small date design, ended up being insanely rare. So rare, in fact, that only a few have ever been confirmed. One sold for $1.7 million in a private auction. And no, this isn't some urban legend. This is legit numismatic history, folks. All right, so you might be wondering, how can a coin that says 1 cent be worth more than a Lamborghini? It's not like Lincoln's winking on it or something, right? Well, it's all about a few key things: rarity, condition, error, and demand. First, this 1982 penny without a mint mark was supposed to be made of zinc, but this one's copper. That's mistake number 1. Second, the small date design used on this coin wasn't supposed to be paired with copper either. Mistake number 2. And third, the coin was struck in Philadelphia, which didn't put mint marks on their pennies back then. So it looks just like a regular old penny you'd get in change at the gas station. Collectors go bananas over error coins. And when a mistake happens during a transition year like 1982, and only a handful slip through the cracks, that's the numismatic jackpot. Now top that off with the fact that the discovered coin was in mint state condition. Sharp details, no wear, looking like it came straight from a time machine. That's like finding a DeLorean in perfect shape with 0 miles. Now I know what you're thinking. I've got a jar of pennies sitting in my garage. Maybe I've got one of these bad boys. First, flip over any 1982 penny you find and look at the date. You'll want one that has a small date rather than a large date. It's a subtle difference. On the small date, the numbers are more delicate, and the 2 in 1982 is curved and lines up slightly lower than the 9 and the 8. Second, it has to not have a mint mark. If you see a little D under the date, that's Denver. We're not looking for that. We're looking for that sweet, clean, mint mark-free look. Third, it's got to be copper, not zinc. Here's a quick way to test it. Copper pennies weigh 3.11 grams, while zinc ones weigh 2.5 grams. So you'll need a precise digital scale. Yeah, this part's kinda nerdy, but hey, it could net you $1 million. Worth it. If you've got a no mint mark, small date, copper 1982 penny that weighs 3.11 grams, get that baby authenticated immediately. You might be sitting on a gold mine disguised as pocket change. Back when I first got into coin collecting, I was at my uncle's house helping him clean out his garage. We came across a massive tin can full of old pennies. I'm talking hundreds. So naturally, I started poking through, looking for wheat pennies and cool dates. I remember finding a few 1982s, and I thought, Mint modern. Probably not worth anything. I even remember one that looked shiny and coppery and had no mint mark. That penny probably bought some stale candy or helped someone break a 20. And now here I am, years later, making videos about a coin I might have had in my hand that's worth $1.7 million. Try realizing you chucked your financial future into a Coinstar machine. So learn from me, my friends. Don't ignore your pennies. Some of them are holding secrets. All right, let's say you find a penny that matches all the right traits. No mint mark, small date, copper, 3.11 grams. Here's your next step. Do not clean it. I repeat, do not clean that coin. That's like trying to polish the Mona Lisa with a dish sponge. Leave it alone. Then, take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can authenticate it and grade the condition. Once that happens, if it's the real deal, you'll have collectors, auction houses, and coin geeks like me knocking down your door. You could end up at an auction where the bidding starts at a house down payment and ends at a beachfront villa. So there you have it, folks. The humble 1982 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, something that most people would walk right past, could be your ticket to millionaire status. It's wild to think that something so small could be worth so much. But that's the magic of coin collecting. You never know what treasures are hiding right in front of you. And hey, even if you don't find the $1 million penny, just taking the time to learn and look is half the fun. You'd be surprised how relaxing it is to sort through coins while sipping some coffee or watching reruns of Matlock. Go check those jars. Dig into that junk drawer. Ask Grandma if she's got an old coffee can full of change. Because the next millionaire might be watching this video right now, and it could be you. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth serious money, collecting strategies, and all the wild stories from the world of pocket change, smash that subscribe button, give it a like, share it with your coin-curious buddy, and stick around.